Well, good morning. It says that I'm live, so that's good. Yeah, hope your week is going well. It's Wednesday, 14th of August, 2024. Who would have thought, right, that we would be around this long? Well, the world isn't getting better. It's getting worse. We all know that. You're well aware. Sorry about the reflection in the glasses. Don't mean to have that, but I guess that is the way it is. So anyway, thought I would talk to you a little bit about Proverbs 14, which was my proverb of the morning, and then something in Judges that really caught my attention the other day. And I'm going to be working on a message here at the church to preach that in a few Sundays, probably 3 Sundays from now. But anyhow, like I say, I hope your week is going well. I hope you're keeping the dream alive and that you're faithful to God and that you are, how would I put it, staying true to who you are, because that's really what matters in life. Because we're never going to please everybody, and I don't try to, but we can attempt to please God. And so let's try to do that together. Anyhow, let me get to what I want to talk to you about. In Proverbs, as I was reading there this morning, verse 4 of chapter 14 says, "Where no oxen are, the crib is clean, but much increase is by the strength of the ox." Now you might say, ox, what does that have to do with anything? Well, the ox is the worker, the laborer. And back in the day, especially Bible times and even up to the early 1900s, farmers would use ox, mules, horses to pull the plow, to do the field work, the grunt work, pull the wagon, do those kind of things. So what that's saying is that an ox, where there are no oxen, where there are no workers, horses, mules, oxen, whatever, the crib is clean, meaning you don't have to clean out the crib. You don't have to, fork out all the straw with all the feces and stuff in it from the cattle or the mules or the oxen, the horses. But the crib might be clean, but so will your bank account be clean. Sometimes in church work, it gets dirty. People get crossway with God and with other people. And it's a mess. One of my favorite sayings that I've been saying for a long time is people are the best thing about ministry, and people are the worst thing about ministry. Because, yes, in Baptist churches, as well as any other church, you get those people who think they're entitled, think they should have their way all the time, don't know to be a team player, and just downright hypocrites. So you have to kind of put up with them and help guide them and try to get them straight in the things that they do or don't do. So then the next verse that I really caught my attention in Proverbs 14 was verse 12. "There's a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death." So in today's society, there's so many different things going on. You have these unintelligent people standing up trying to say that a man can be a woman and a woman can be a man if they just want to. And they're trying to claim all this new science and, saying that what we live in is a toxic past days Caucasian masculinity stuff. Well, folks, men and women have been around since the beginning of the world and time. God created Adam and Eve, male and female, not non-binary, trannies, and all this other stuff. The Heinz 57. God created two genders. Crazy people came up with the rest. People who are mentally deranged. Fact of the matter, like it or not, that's the way it is. There's a way that seems right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. It's sin. S-I-N. You got two X's, woman. X and a Y, male, man. Doesn't matter. And that idiot, the two idiots that boxed in the women's category in the Olympics, they have mental problems, mental issues. But so do the judges or the people who let them do that. That was pathetic. That was absolutely the lowest that any Olympics could go. And let me tell you, you liberal feminists who stand up for women, well, you're not. Because you're claiming, well, I'm woke, so that's okay. It's not okay. God made men and women different. Men have stronger muscles. Men have a stronger bone density. They're just stronger. Women have it up here. They're smarter. But men have the physical ability because God wanted the man to work hard and the woman shouldn't have to do that kind of work. But anyway, some of you don't understand that. But you should. And then the last thing in verse 34 of Proverbs 14, righteousness exalteth a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. These drag queens, these trannies, these homosexuals, these people who have just lost it. Lambda, isn't that something about men and boys? Muslims are sick and evil with having a 9-year-old bride. That's ridiculous. And in Muslim countries, they treat women like trash, like property. And here's a fact that you probably know, but if a woman gets raped in a Islamic country, she has to have 5 Muslim men to testify to that. And if she doesn't, they put her to death. She was raped, but they kill her. That's how much they think of women. And you've got all these lesbians and feminists just, oh, we support Islam and we support Muslims and we support Palestine. You're idiots. Wake up. Smell the coffee. If they tell you they want to treat you as property, if they show that they do that, and they do, they kill homosexuals. They shoot them in the head. They push them off of tall buildings. And here you are. Oh, we just love them. Can't coexist with somebody that wants to kill you. Okay? Can't do it. Not going to happen. And what we're doing, we're teaching our kids that this kind of junk is okay. Well, I don't. I worry about my grandkids. My children are already what they're going to be because they're grown. But my grandkids haven't had a chance to grow up yet. And I want them to grow up somewhere where they're safe from pedophiles and all these idiots who are weird in the head. And you might say, well, I don't like those words you're using. You're being very caustic and mean. Well, I could tell you that you're a whited sepulcher full of dead men's bones. I could tell you that you're Pharisees and hypocrites. Woe unto you, scribes, Pharisees, hypocrites. I could tell you pervert the gospel. I could tell you all those things, but all you got to do is read Matthew 23, and Jesus will tell you you're a whited sepulcher full of dead men's bones. Everybody wants to see Jesus as some fluff head, little mamsy-pamsy, feminine, whatever. He was masculine, and it wasn't toxic masculinity. Where does this stupid definitions even come from? Oh, toxic masculinity. No, that's a bunch of weirdos trying to do their best to tear men down. Nah, try that. Pump that juice somewhere else. Judges chapter 2. Here's it's very interesting. In Judges 2, God told them, don't make any kind of league with any other nations. Don't make any agreement with the heathen. But Israel did it anyway. In verse 3, wherefore I also said, I will not drive them out from before you, but they shall be as thorns in your sides, and their gods shall be a snare unto you. Now, this is after Israel didn't obey. God says, done with you. And it came to pass when the angel of the Lord spake these words unto the children of Israel, here's what they did, boo-hoo, that the people lifted up their voice and wept. Oh my goodness, we're going to pay the price for disobeying God. And oh, if we had only known, God told them, just like he told the United States, and he's told a lot of preachers who have compromised the gospel. They've allowed anything and everything in their so-called churches. Really, it's a social club where we all meet and blah, blah, blah. Aren't we all nice and pat each other on the back? And well, we accept and affirm homosexuals and transgenders and all this other junk that if you read Romans 1, it's not good. But they do it anyway. And they call the name of that place Bochim. And they sacrificed there unto the Lord. And when Joshua had let the people go, the children of Israel went every man into his inheritance to possess the land. Now, God gave Israel, but he even broke it down to every man was going to possess their land. Not every tribe, but every man too. Yes, they're part of the tribe, but it's every man. And here's what happened. Verse 7 of Judges 2. And the people served the Lord all the days of Joshua and all the days of the elders that outlived Joshua, who had seen all the great works of the Lord that he did for Israel. So these people, Joshua's people, his contemporaries that saw God's great work and mercy and miracles, they all died off. The ones that saw it firsthand. And I can remember early on in my ministry, starting in 1982, when I went to pastor LaVale Bible Church, LaVale, Maryland, in June of 82. Still had great churches, great preachers, a lot of good stuff going on. Lifting high the banner, revival meetings in churches, preachers preaching righteousness and against sin, 1982, 42 years ago. And why? Because we knew and read about the R.A. Torreys and the Sam Jones and the Bob Jones and the John R. Rices and all those guys, the Jack Hiles, Tom Malones, and all those men. And then they passed off the scene. Dallas Billingsley in Akron, Ohio, built Akron Baptist Temple in the 40s and early 50s. He had 10,000 members. Great facility, amazing facility. Today, watch the video on YouTube about the Akron Baptist Temple. It's done. They deserted it. It's just a bunch of people break in and spray paint things on the wall, and it's sad. A church that once would seat 5,000-6,000 people on a Sunday morning. Vibrant bus ministry, great Sunday school classes, gone. And the generation now, oh, we never heard that. Church, what's that? That's something my parents went to occasionally. Now, my grandparents went all the time, but has no relevance in my life. Well, here's what happens. And when you see this or hear this, it should shake you up a bit as it did me. It was sad. And Joshua, the son of Nun, the servant of the Lord, died, being 110 years old. So he lived by our standards, a long life. And they buried him in the border of his inheritance in Timnath-Heres, in the Mount of Ephraim, on the north side of the hill Gash. And also all that generation were gathered unto their fathers, and there arose another generation after them. So not the generation I was telling you about with the Bob Jones and Jack Hiles and Tom Malones and Lee Robertsons and all those. They're gone. Then arose another generation after them, which knew not the Lord, nor yet the works which he had done for Israel. They weren't part of the great revival meetings. They weren't part of the great movement of God. They had no clue. They didn't see a thing, but here they are. Now they're on the scene. Now they're the leaders of the churches. Now they're supposed to be the ones with great faith and guidance and direction, but they're not. Today, the churches have a watered down message. They have sermonettes for Christianettes. Nobody really wants to commit to God and faithfully live, tithing to the church, working for the church, and praying as if every prayer they prayed counted on. That's what had to happen for God to move. Those times are gone. The great prayer meetings, the great revival meetings in the United States, because we have a generation that doesn't have a clue. We have a generation that can't tell you what a woman is and says that a man can have a baby. I mean, how stupid. Trust the science. Well, I know a little bit about science. And a guy can't have a baby. Double X chromosome, sure. XY, ain't gonna happen. Born with an extension, you're a male. Born without, you're a female, period. That's it. I don't care what you feel. We've got a generation that wants to base everything not on facts, but on feelings. Gotta cease, people. It's gotta cease. The children of God need to stand up and be heard. And we need to get back to sharing the message and telling people about God, because this generation has no clue. It goes on in verse 11, and the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord and served Balaam. And they forsook the Lord God of their fathers, which brought them out of the land of Egypt, and followed other gods, of the gods of the people that were round about them, and bowed themselves unto them, and provoked the Lord to anger. And then verse 13 of Judges 2. And they forsook the Lord and served Baal and Ashtaroth. Now, Ashtaroth and Molech were images, gods that were created by men. Molech, they would heat up to a red hot look, and it had its hands out in front of it. And they would bring their babies and put those babies in those hot, burning, molten, so to speak, hands, and sacrifice their babies to this devilish freak of a god. And they thought that was okay. And here we are in the United States, we're aborting how many children every year? We're murdering our children. You women that do that, you need to know you're murdering a human being. Doesn't matter what you think. I don't care how you feel. That's what you're doing. I'm sorry, but it's what you're doing. And then the last verse, and I'll just kind of wrap up a couple thoughts and we'll be done for this one. And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel, and he delivered them into the hands of the spoilers that spoiled them, and he sold them into the hands of their enemies round about, so that they could not any longer stand before their enemies. Whithersoever they went out, the hand of the Lord was against them for evil. Why? Because they forsook the Lord, because they decided they knew better than God. That's some of you people out there. Maybe none of them will ever hear this. I hope they do. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. If you'd like to see if you can cause some trouble, just forward it to whatever device or platform you have. Because it's the way it is, people. We have a generation who doesn't know God. We've got my generation who didn't do their job in teaching people about God. Oh, there's a few, but the greats have passed off the scene. The great men of God, just like our great military leaders, the MacArthurs, the Pattons, the Eisenhower types, those have left us, the Spruants, the Nimitz, the admirals in the Navy that once knew you have to defeat an enemy. We have now a bunch of bozos in Congress and Senate, a bunch of U.S. haters. And by the way, let me close with this. I was going to wrap her up, and I still got a couple minutes I can chat. Our taxes are too high. They keep saying, well, everyone needs to do their part, give more, give more. Why? So they can give it to Pakistan? So they can give it to other countries that hate us? So they can just give it away frivolously, and they can have these aliens, this invasion force coming into this country, these illegals that we want to call them, oh, they're just migrants, undocumented aliens. No, they're an invasion force. They're illegal. They need to be put out immediately. They don't care about your feelings. The right thing needs to be done. And the Democrats are going to try to get them to vote. Only way they can steal an election now. Biden did such a lousy job, and Harris did such a lousy job. I don't know who they're going to try to prop up to cheat for, but it's going to happen because we don't know the Lord. Bottom line, make it your mission in life to know God better. Read his holy word. Get back on your knees in prayer. Quit trusting the world and culture to tell you what you ought to think. Think for yourself. Be an individual who stands up and is heard. Boy, the liberals sure are. Those weirdos with their fruit salad color hair and everything else, and they're just out there, and that one woman, she's had 20 some abortions and she's proud of it. How sick can a person be? Do you see the arms and the legs and the feet and the hands and the head and the eyes of those little babies? We live in a sad time, and I think we're probably outside of God's redeeming grace as a nation. Oh, there'll be pockets, there'll be a remnant. We'll see. Time will tell. The Orwellian theories of that book 1984 are sure coming true in 2024. Anyway, nice chatting with you. We'll see you again next time. Hopefully, a little better message, maybe, but maybe not. We'll see. Bye bye.